Hello team, I have just finished a double bill at the cinema, it was a self-made double bill, and it's not something that I've done for a long time. I remember at uni I did a treble bill of the Muppet Christmas, no, not the Christmas Carol, sorry, the Muppet movie, Shame, and Coriolanus, the Ralph Fiennes Shakespeare adaptation. I said this on my podcast FREDFLIX. It was traumatizing. I think since then I did one treble bill with my mum at, I think we saw Southpaw. Fuck, I can't even remember what it was there, but basically I've never had a good experience. Anyway, today I had a good experience in terms of the double bill as a partnership. We'll go into each individual film. The double bill today was Anora first, and then Blitz. So I'll do both in turn. And in both instances, I'll do kind of a non-spoilery take, and then I'll do a spoilery take. I'm just walking down Southbank because I'm off for some drinks, just filling some time, talking to you twats. So, Anora. Anora is the new film from Sean Baker, who directed the Florida Project. I hate doing synopses on here because you're all sat on your fucking phone or your computer or whatever, you just fucking Google it. But basically it's a story about a sex worker called Anora who is swept up by the son of a Russian businessman into this like whirlwind 2-week romance that ravels and then proceeds to unravel. I love this film. I'm always a bit tentative when I go into films that have been like highly spoken of at like festivals and whatnot, in advance of me seeing it. But I was quite proud of myself that I managed to avoid the trailer for this. I avoided any reviews for it. I just saw, as in any written reviews, long form, I just saw that it was very highly regarded in terms of like a title of a podcast popped up and was like Anora is spectacular and all this shit, and I was like, oh fucking hell, in for one here. So saw it, and yeah, I thought it was brilliant. So I wasn't a massive fan of the Florida Project. Also had some sex work like storylines to it, but I really liked this. I thought that the performance by the lead who played Anora was brilliant. I've forgotten her name, but she was brilliant. And basically not knowing what to expect in this film really helped it, because it ended up kind of coming across as kind of like a screwball comedy at times. Like it's basically this kind of like one night type of film, you know, where it all happens in one night, you know, like Scorsese's After Hours. It's like Pretty Woman mixed with After Hours. It's like kind of a bit of a caper, like a comedy caper in some ways, but then also quite kind of a film like laced with threat, sort of despair, desire. Yeah, it's really, there's a lot going on, and I would say the real like victory for this film is managing to balance so many different tones perfectly, all of them perfectly, so that it's very, very well pitched between like what you'd call like a drama, comedy, romance, I don't know, maybe even crime. I don't know. There's a lot going on, and it does it all really well. The performances are brilliant. It's constantly surprising you, and I think it succeeds in what it's trying to do. Now, downsides are there are some character decisions later on in the film. This is now spoilers. Some character decisions later on in the film that I don't necessarily fully agree with. Not because of their morals or whatever, but because I just don't believe that the characters that we've gotten to know would have made those decisions in that way. Spoilers, I'll say specifically now. Specifically, when Taurus, I think his name is, says to her, I'm going to pay you off 10 grand, you're going to get annulled, and that's the end of it. That character to me at that moment would go, oh, I want 1 million. I don't just want 10 grand, I want 1 million. Like, if she's getting convinced to, like, truly leave it, I'm just gonna stop for a sec. It's a little bit embarrassing doing this on the street. Yeah, if she's getting convinced to really leave it, but she sincerely does have a sense of love for or affection for this guy, I think she'd demand more money. I think she knows how much money's at stake for them. She'd be like, yeah, pay me off $1 million and I'll shut up. Secondly, there's a moment at the bottom of the but I think that sounds like quite a frivolous thing, but I think it's integral. Like, I think that would change the course of the whole film, and I think that not happening, it doesn't sit right with the character. I'm not saying she's like money grabbing, but the film has set her up to be very, very aware of the financial benefits of being with this guy, and then that starts to sit alongside a growing affection for him. So since this Taurus is telling her to shut up and she can't live out that affection, I think that the money would come back into play. But anyway, and it happened again at the bottom of the aeroplane steps. The Russian mum says, if you don't get on this plane, I'm gonna like take your car, I'm gonna take your money, I'm gonna take your house, and I'm gonna make your life hell or whatever. That character has been so bullshit up until that point. She's literally just like been shouting, like she's been so bullshit. We've gotten to know her as quite like a confidently aggressive defender of like her point of view. In that situation, that character to me would turn around and say, well, lucky for you, I don't have anything to fucking lose, bitch. Like you can't take anything from me, so I'm gonna sue you, and that's fucking that. You can't do anything about it. Like, that to me again was a moment where the film could have shifted, and it didn't. I'm gonna go through here. I don't know what's going on in here. Stonecutters Lane. Interesting. But anyway, those are minor kind of, I guess, plot contrivances that I didn't necessarily agree with, but the tone of the film, the execution of the film, the cinematography was beautiful. The performances within, loved it all. So I give Anora like a good 8 out of 10, possibly 9, and it's certainly my front runner for Best Picture alongside Dune Part 2. I think that would be the only other option so far. So yeah, brilliant. So then I came out of that and I went into Blitz, which is a film starring Saoirse Ronan. It's Steve McQueen, who directed Shame and Hunger and Widows and Small Axe, which Small Axe was I've never cried at a film more than Small Axe. It had me blubbering like a relative had passed away. Honestly, it was insane. So I'm a big fan of Steve McQueen. I think pretty much all of his films, Widows as well, which wasn't as well regarded. But I mean, there's a couple of blokes on Best Picture. Like, he's a prestige director, and we're lucky to have him as a British director. I feel like him, Danny Boyle, Chris Nolan, like these British directors that have won Best Picture and are considered like highly regarded in Hollywood, we're lucky to have them kind of flying the flag for Britain. So saw Blitz, and basically I fucking didn't like it. I thought it sucked. I said, but I might be in the minority on that, because I said to my mate straight as we walked out, I said, did that suck? And he said, no, I loved it. He loved every second of it. Basically, what I didn't like about it was it's entirely based around Saoirse Ronan's kid getting sent off for evacuation and then finding his way back by jumping off the evacuation train, right? But the whole fucking thing is like, the kid sucks at acting, first of all. The kid absolutely sucks. And that's not the kid's fault. It might not even be Steve McQueen's fault, but if a film's based around a kid, like, it just has to be right. And it's not my fault that it's not. It's just fucking not. It's not right. So it puts you off the whole film. All the other kids suck. their performances. It's really took me out of it, first and foremost. Saoirse Ronan's trying her best with it's a half decent role. Let me get into the meat and drink of why I didn't like it. So I might go into spoilers here straight up. Steve McQueen to me is a master of like taking a world and grounding it, right? And like really getting its teeth into it and getting dirt under its fingernails. 12 Years a Slave and Hunger, you couldn't imagine a more kind of raw depiction of those worlds and those stories. And he really puts you like in the face of it. Like the cinematographer he used to use, Sean Bobbitt, got famous for doing documentaries and then came to do Steve McQueen's films, and so there was a lot of long takes, which is by the by, but I just mean that the style lent itself to really getting in the face of some quite like lofty and affecting issues, right? And The Blitz is another one of them. The difference is that, first of all, the cinematographer has changed. So what used to come across as grounded and raw now comes across as kind of schmaltzy and almost televisual, tacky, right? If someone hadn't told me it was directed by Steve McQueen, or that it was a kind of wide release, I would have been like, oh, is this a BBC drama that was made for educational purposes that we show to kids in history class? Like, it looks shit, really. And the kids' acting sucks, right? And then secondly, that's not helped by the fact that the story is really, it's almost fable-like. On the one hand, it's like how this kid gets up to all these hijinks and runs into all these dodgy people around London, and like it's kind of almost a fairy tale, magical, not in a sense of it's positive, but it's fable-like is the best word for it. But then that's intersecting with some quite like tough set pieces around the Blitz, and those are done really well for the most part, especially one towards the end about a flooding in a tube station. But for me, you either have to balance those tones better, the fable and the reality, or pick a side, because I don't think it's clear enough whether he's going for realism in terms of the story of the kid, because it all just seems a bit like I say, televisual, a bit Peaky Blinders and a bit like caricatured. It's like, oh, we've run into Stephen Graham, who's a dodgy old cockney, and he like chops off old ladies' fingers, and don't get me wrong, maybe that happened, but the fault of the film is, I'm sure it did happen, but the fault of the film is, for me, it didn't sell. Oh fuck! It didn't sell it just slipped on like, I don't even know. It didn't sell the realism of it to me. It didn't feel real. And coming from a story about the Blitz, from a director like Steve McQueen, who is grounded, like I say, lofty issues in absolute realism so well in the past, it felt so disappointing to me. I was like, I don't feel like I'm in this. It feels like maybe he's got a bigger budget, but it looks like a TV set. And it's so funny that apparently they just used Hull to stand in for World War II London. Talk about north-south divide. Oh yeah, London doesn't look like World War II London anymore. What should we use? Oh yeah, Hull, because that still looks like it. It just didn't work for me. I don't know what else to say, mate. I'm just gonna go back actually, because I'm gonna go up some steps. So yeah, the kids didn't work for me. The tone didn't work for me. I found it very, very disappointing, and I'll give it a 4 out of 10. So, look, we started well with Anora, ended not so well with Blitz, but as a pair, I thought they complemented each other just fine, and it certainly helped Anora to see something like Blitz after and realise there's quite a big gap between the quality. I didn't go into Blitz like expecting. I didn't dislike Blitz because I loved Anora that much, put it that way, but but vice versa. It did make me like Anora a lot more, to realise, wow, I sat through 2 hours 20 and didn't realise it, and I was thoroughly entertained, and the tone was so well balanced. I can now see how Blitz, I'm bored after an hour, and the tone is not well balanced. I went out for a wee at half time of Blitz just to fucking break it up a little bit. Yeah, so that's that. Follow me on Letterboxd if you've got this far, because if you've got this far, you probably are a letterboxer. My name, Fred Asquith, on Letterboxd is my profile picture of me like this. And also subscribe here on YouTube if you got this far, because it really helps. I'm trying to pivot on YouTube. I mean, I have pivoted on YouTube to film content only, pretty much, alongside some of the random ramblings as usual, but it's 99% film. And what comes with that is my show FREDFLIX, that is going to be pivoting into something really funny that I've started filming with my friend recently, and that I'll tell you about soon. And I'm also, if you see this in advance of the 13th of November, this video I mean, I've been invited to the Gladiator 2 premiere, and I've planned to vlog the whole thing for you on YouTube, so subscribe for that as well, and hit the notification bell. Oh, fuck off.